Good morning, Dr. Domingo.
Good morning, Professor Misha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am ready when you want. I can start. No problem.
Yes, sure. So very good morning, very good afternoon, all of you. I wish to welcome all of you on last day of third edition of 7 days faculty development program on current trends in forensic science, education, and career goals, enhancing skills for employability and entrepreneurship, and interdisciplinary approach. So today there are three plenary session. After that there is validatory function. After function there is online assessment. That time you require to on your camera and answer, and that Google form will be active for 1 hour only. Okay. So today every forms will close till 7 or 8 p.m. maximum. So proper um, attendance, proper uh, feedback also required. There is the 4 quadrant form. We will share you two Google form. Okay. And you need to fill both form. So now I want to tell about today's program. First session by Dr. Domingo Magliocca, that is, he is a public investigator and certified geographic profiling analyst, Italy. His plenary session on geographical crime scene investigation beyond the crime scene investigation yellow line. Second session by Honorable Director Forensic Science Laboratory, Government of and City of Delhi, Ms. Deepa Verma. Her plenary session on chain of custody of forensic samples in the laboratory, means we are talking about forensic science laboratory. Third session by Professor Dr. Bhupen Singh, Professor cum toxicologist at Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, Rajendra Institute of Medical Sciences, Ranchi, Jharkhand, India. His plenary session on role of forensic toxicologist in management of poisoning patients or new dimensions to forensic students. So, as per the theme of the faculty development program, we are focusing on entrepreneurship and in employability. So, all specialization in the field of forensic sciences required to explore by the forensic students and choose the best one, best suited for them, and are as per the industry 4.0 and 5.0 requirement. So now I want to invite our first eminent resource person, Dr. Domingo. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you to all. Thank you, Professor Mishra, for the presentation. And I want now to share my screen. Just Prof, have feedback just if you see the screen. Prof, I'm sorry. Can I have a feedback if the attendants can see my screen?
Yes, your screen is proper visual.
Okay,
You are
thank you.
proper
Thank you.
audible now.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to Professor Mishar for the invitation to this forensic science event. This is my third time that I am at the Amity University in this forensic event. It is for me a privilege to stay with you all. Well, the title of this my presentation is Geographical Crime Machine Investigation, behind the yellow line of CSI, of Crime Machine Investigation yellow line. So what we see during this presentation is about the role of geographical crime machine in the role of geographical crime machine in serial crime investigation, how it possible use the concept of geographical crime machine, how it possible use geographic profiling analysis in order to understand to analyze the spatial pattern of the offender and find the possible anchor point, of a serialist, a serial offender. So we will see during this presentation the theoretical framework of geographical profiling analysis. At the end of the main presentation, the theoretical presentation, I won't show to you all just two demonstrative case. One case when just two demonstrative case where I work with geographic profiling analysis. One case is about a cyber offender, and talking about geography and cyber offender, it seems a paradox, but it is possible in under specific condition. It is possible also use geographic profiling analysis, geographic profiling principle in order to analyze, to study this crime. And the other case is about the other case that I want to show is about a serial robberies committed by co-offender. Also, in this case, we have a good result for the investigation using geographic profiling analysis. Just an information. The topic of this presentation, geographical crime machine investigation, will be a chapter in the new book of Professor Mishar, Crime Machine Investigation. So we can find just this topic inside the new book of Professor Mishra. Well, let's start. This is my profile, who I am. I am Domingo Maioca, judicial policy investigator at the local prosecutor office. I have a master degree in applied criminology for investigation and security, degree in law, certified geographic profiling analyst. I am the only one analyst in Italy that use this specific technique, that use a specific investigative tool for the investigation of spatial pattern of the offender. I am an author, a lecturer at Institute of Forensic Science in Italy, and also European subcommittee member of International Association of Crime Analysts. This is my short profile. And now let's start where all began for me. When I was a young student, at University of Bologna, I remember many trips from my residence located in south of Italy to north of Italy, where is located my course of study, applied criminology for investigation and security. During this my trip, during this journey, I developed after many trips, after many journey, I developed my mental schemata, my mental template of the place that I visited. I remember I visited different place, train station, bus station, bar, restaurant, the site of my university, Safi Square, the square where I spent more time with the other friends. And so I developed this mental schemata of the place that I use during my routine. I use it during my routine activity in the city of Bologna, in the city of Forlì. At the end of my course of study, I made a question: if the place that I visited were a crime scene, which criminological theory, which I remember I was a student of course of master degree in applied criminology. So at the end of this of my course of study, I made this question: if the place that I visited were a crime scene, which criminological theory I can use in order to understand my spatial pattern in the city of Forlì, and which investigative tool, which tool, which quantitative tool I can use in order to analyze, in order to analyze my movement, my criminal movement in the city of Forlì, in order to find my possible anchor point in the city. The answer to this question is inside this image. This image show my spatial movement in the city of Forlì. But what we see inside this image is the quantitative analysis of my spatial movement. The white dot are the place that I visited during my course of study, bus station, Safi Square, the area, my university place, some bar and restaurant. In the yellow area, there is, after my quantitative analysis, there is located my temporary anchor point in that period, my hotel where I stayed during my course of study. The small map show the street that I used during this period, the street that linked all this site. So I use this map, I use this example just for making introduction of geographic profiling analysis that we will see in the next slide. Geographic profiling analysis is an investigative tool based on environmental criminology. Environmental criminology study the possible relationship between crime and place where the crime occurs. Under the umbrella of the environmental criminology, in relation to geographic profiling analysis, we have three macro theory: routine activity theory, rational choice theory, and crime pattern theory. The routine activity theory indicates which are the ingredients for the occurrence of crimes. So we will have in every crime a motivated offender plus an accretive target, less controllers, control formal and informal on the victim and on the offender. The rational choice theory provides us the information about the decision-making process when the offender decided to commit a crime. All of the us when decided to do an action, we tend to balance cost and benefit of this action, and the same do the offender. And finally, the crime pattern theory help us to understand where and when the crime occurs. Many research in this field show the tendency of the offender to commit crime in the awareness space, in familiar area, in activity space. So this is the macro theory of geographic profiling analysis, but geographic profiling analysis use also the result of scientific research called Journey to Crime. Journey to Crime is a corpus of study that analyze the distance traveled by an offender. The geographic profiling analysis also use the concept of a distance decay and the buffer zone. What is this distance decay? Distance decay is the empirical confirmation that the criminal activity decreases over distance between offender residence and the crime scene. And finally, the buffer zone. The buffer zone is a security area around the offender home base. Distance decay and buffer zone are very important elements because they are implemented inside the geographic profiling tool. For example, I use in Italy during my research, my investigative practice, investigative work, the software Rigel created by Kim Rosmo. So inside this software, there is a balance between distance decay and buffer zone. The other theoretical concept of geographical profiling analysis are, for example, less efforts principle, the mental map, this cognitive map, the representation of the environment around us. So this is the main theoretical framework of geographic profiling analysis. And what is geographic crime scene? Let's we see this concept, geographical crime scene. What is? At the start of the presentation, the title of this presentation is Geographical Crime Scene Investigation Behind the Yellow Line of CSI. What do we see inside this image? This image is a crime scene. This is a real crime scene. This is a crime scene of Mostre of Florence in Italy, a serial killer, a serial offender, an unknown serial offender in Italy. But what do we see in particular this image? We will see about this crime scene. We see what I call it criminalistic crime scene. Why criminalistic crime scene? Because inside this image, inside this place, we can collect all physical evidence, all criminalistic evidence of the crime event in order to reconstruct the dynamic of crime. But geographical profiling analysis work outside the yellow line work outside the yellow line of this image. Geographical profiling analysis use the data of criminalistic crime scene because we need to link the crime event. If we have more linked crime event, we will have more information about the behavioral dimension of the offender. And if we have more linked location, we will have more information about the spatial pattern of the offender. And as we know, the best way to link crime is the physical evidence. So geographical profiling use the physical evidence in order to link crime, but GPA analysis work outside, behind the CSI yellow line. Is this a crime scene? Do we think that this is a crime scene? Yes, this is a crime scene. Every point is a crime event. Every point is act as a clue. Every point has a geographical quality in order to understand the movement, the spatial pattern of the offender in the criminal scenario. In the next slide, we will see what is the concept of geographic crime scene. So during a criminal investigation, especially in serial crime investigation, we have two types of crime scene: criminalistic crime scene and geographical crime scene. Criminalistic crime scene allows us to understand the dynamic of the crime event, and the geographical crime scene allows us to understand the spatial pattern of the offender, with the main goal to identify the anchor point of the offender. And talking about geographical crime scene opened the way to another type of the investigation: geographical crime scene investigation. It is different from CSI. It is different from crime scene investigation. Geographical crime scene investigation is a targeted investigative process that has like a key the evaluation of a geographical trace left by a serialist, left by an offender at the crime scene. The geographical investigation take in consideration a different aspect of the crime event, in particular geospatial and temporal clue of the offender, the crime distribution of the event, the timeline of a crime, and this particular investigation is carried out through specific investigative activities. For example, geographic profiling, geographic modus agendi analysis, post-offenses movement analysis, victim activity overlap analysis, geographical assessment, and directional pattern. The focus of this presentation is about geographic profiling. Geographic profiling is also the main activity of geographic crime scene investigation. And now let's see what is geographic profiling. Geographic profiling is an investigative tool, an investigative method, quantitative and qualitative method based on the study of environmental criminology. And this investigative tool is used by crime analysts, by academics, scholars, police investigator, in order to understand the temporal and spatial aspect of the crime event, with the main goal of the investigation, of the identification of the possible anchor point, the home base of a serial offender. Generally, we use geographic profiling analysis in serial case, in serial crime, for example, serial murder, serial rape, sexual aggression, robbery, theft, bombing events. But we can use geographic profiling analysis also in single crime with the multiple crime scene linked to the same crime event. So we can use geographical profiling not only in serial case, but also in single crime with the different crime site related to the same event. To improve the analysis, to optimize the geographic profiling process, the analysts use specific investigative tool. For example, in Italy, I use in my research, in my practice, in my investigative work, this tool, Rigel Analyst, created by Kim Rosmo, the father of the modern geographic profiling analysis. With this tool, I create a probability after the analysis of geographical crime scene, after the analysis, after the qualitative analysis. I create a probability map where it is possible find the anchor point of the offender. As I use in my field, in my work, this tool, and I consider this tool the best tool for make this work, this geographic profiling analysis. But about the use of this specific tool, of geographic profiling tool, I won't say just think. Think before you click. What means this? Running an investigative geographic profiling tool, open a geographic profiling tool, open a personal computer, as we know, it is a simple operation. But in geographic profiling analysis, before starting with the work, with the quantitative analysis, it is always a good idea analyze the meaning of a crime event, the distribution of the target, the offender movement, the direction of the offender, the environmental characteristic of the criminal scenario. Geographical profiling is not an arithmetical exercise. Geographical profiling analysis don't sing with an X the map saying that this point is the real anchor point. Geographical profiling is an investigative strategy, and geographical profiling is not a simple operation of inserting data in a computer system. So we need to take in consideration when we work with geographical profiling analysis, some aspect of the crime event, some aspect spatial and temporal aspect of the crime event. Well, this is the methodological condition for the application of geographic profiling analysis. The linkage analysis between crime is complete, so we need to start the analysis from the linkage, always from the linkage analysis. As I said, if we have more linked location, we will have more information about the spatial pattern of the offender. The offender is an hunter, according to Rosmo spatial typology, or a marauder according to David Canter spatial typology. There is a uniform distribution of the crime event. If there are more than one offender, they live together or nearby. This condition is very important because in geographic profiling analysis, when we have the idea that in serial crime is involved with a group of the offender, it is important to pay attention to the spatial distribution of the crime event. The home base of the offender didn't change during the crime series. This is a basic condition of geographic for the application of geographic profiling analysis. And now let's see the process model of geographic profiling analysis. This model is the model that I use in Italy, proposed by Kim Rosmo. Is a 6-step is a six-step process model. The first step is the collection of the investigative information. The second step is the linkage analysis. As I said, linkage analysis is very important in criminal profiling field, in offender profiling field. When I receive the case, the analyst, in order to make a geographical profiling analysis, I always review the linkage analysis, because from crime report we can find some geographical quality that we can use in order to improve the spatial analysis of the offender. The third step is the examination of interaction between offender, victim, environment. So we need to analyze the geographical crime scene. Remember that in every crime, also without a physical evidence, also without a criminalistic evidence, what we will have in every crime is the criminological interlacement between person, time, and place. The fourth step is the generation of the offender search pattern. So we, after the qualitative analysis, we develop the geographic profile of the offender with the geographic profiling tool, in this case of Rigel. The core, the aim of the third and fourth step is the identification of offender home base working back from crime site. The next step is the preparation of geographic profiling report, and finally, if we have another crime site linked to the same series, we need to update our geographic profiling analysis. This is the sixth step process used in geographic profiling analysis. And now, after the main the theoretical framework of geographic profiling analysis, let's see two demonstrative cases. One case, as I said, is about a cybercrime, the geography of cybercrime using geographic profiling consideration in order to catch the spatial pattern and the possible home base of serial cyber offender. This is a real case that I have investigated some years ago, and now we will see this case with the analysis of geographic profiling. As I said at the start of this presentation, talking about the geography of crime, it seems a paradox because, as we know, in this case, we haven't any concept of physicality of the crime site. But we have the possibility to use geographic profiling analysis in one of this, also in cybercrime, in specific cybercrime. And we can use geographic crime scene analysis in specific case in relation to fake sale, fake fraud on the web with the use of credit, with the use of the credit card. In this case, in this specific cybercrime, we can use geographic profiling analysis. And now let's see why it is possible to use geographic profiling analysis in this case. The other speech is about the e-commerce field. This particular case has some characteristic. The offender start the criminal activity in virtual place where there is the contact between offender and the victim about this sale, about this fake sale. But after this fake sale, the offender need to move in a real place because because the offender have the need to take the money from a postal bank ATM, to spend the money, to spend the cash in a commercial shop. So at this point, we have a specific location. We haven't. We have. We have a specific geographical aspect of a crime. The criminal activity pass from virtual place to real place. So we have a specific location that allows us to analyze the series with the support of geographic profiling analysis. Remember the basic condition for the application of geographic profiling analysis. The linkage analysis is complete. The offender is an hunter. There is a uniform distribution of the crime event. If there are more than one offender that live together or nearby, the home base didn't change during the series. This is a basic condition for the application of geographic profiling analysis in the general case. And now, when we work with geographic profiling analysis in this specific crime, we need to add to the previous condition the other conditions. For example, victim research is human-based, so there is a contact between offender and the victim. The victim is not computer-based. Complex informatic technique, for example, specious link, sending email, SMS, specious link. The cybercrime present an alternation between digital space and physical environment. So we have the possibility to find geographic clue of the offender in the real space. The movement of the offender is uniformly distributed, and there is the need to have a series of at least 5 sites, 5 postal bank location, 5 commercial shop where the offender spent the money, the cash. All these locations are linked to the same online crime. This is the further information, the further condition for the application of geographic profiling analysis in this specific cybercrime. This is the place of a crime of this series. Do you think that these places are criminalistic crime scene? No. In this case, we haven't any information, any physical evidence of the offender. We haven't any criminalistic evidence of the offender. Remember what I said, in every crime, what we will have in every crime, also without criminalistic evidence, also without physical evidence, what we will have in every crime is always the interlacement between person, time, and place. And this case show this condition. In this demonstrative case, in this cyber case, we have just these 3 information: person, time, and place. We haven't any physical evidence of the offender, any criminalistic evidence of the offender. This location are the position of a postal bank ATM, are the position of the postal bank ATM where the offender went in order to take the cash from the credit card after the fake sale. And having this position, having this information, having the position of this of the postal bank ATM, having a temporal aspect, it is possible use geographic profiling analysis in this specific case. It is possible analyze the geographical crime scene of this series. And what we see inside this image is the geographic crime scene. The image number one show the north area of this series. The image number two show the south area of this series. But what is geographical crime scene? What is this concept? Geographical crime scene is a location network formed by two levels of the analysis, particular level and the general level. At the particular level, we have the crime site correlated to particular specific geographic unit of the analysis. So we need to analyze if the crime event is in indoor place, in outdoor place, because there is a difference in distance traveled by the offender. If the offender commit a crime in indoor place, in outdoor place, there is many research show that there is a difference in distance traveled by the offender. The proximity of this place near the frequented zone by the people, the specific zoning of this place. And at general level, we have to analyze all the location of all sites related to crime. If the police agency know this place, because sometimes we haven't any information, for example, about the victim last seen location, and or the location of serial offenses, both intended as geographical general structure of the crime event in relation to the action, conception, and physical attributes. Remember these three elements, because these three elements, according to David Canter, forms the concept of the place. Action, conception, and physical attribute of the place are the three elements of the place. Practically, in investigative field, we need to, at a general level, we need to analyze socio-demographic context of the crime event, the presence of physical, psychological barriers, the road system, the timeline of a crime, because it is important to analyze not only how the offender move in the space, but also how the offender move across the time. So further information are, for example, the direction of the crime, the direction of the offender after committing the crime, the risk of the victim or the offender, the environmental characteristic of the crime, the environmental characteristic of the criminal scenario. So this is the concept of geographical crime scene that we can use when we analyze a serial offender, a serialist, or a crime event with a different site linked to the same event, the same crime. And now let's see the result of geographic profiling analysis in this case. So, as I said, we pass from the offender pass from virtual space to real space, and this condition allows us to understand the spatial pattern of the offender and the possible anchor point of this offender. The result of geographic profiling analysis is this. For this analysis, for this investigation, I use a number of credit cards, the position of a postal bank ATM where the offender take the cash. I work with Rigel, my professional geographic profiling tool. I develop a scenario. I analyze the qualitative analysis of the crime scene. I create a geographic profile. Geographic profile is the image number two. The image number one show the complete spatial pattern of the offender, and the image number three show the peak profile area. What is the anchor point of the offender in relation to geographic profile that I developed? Well, this is the complete result, the geographic profile over the map of the criminal scenario. The blue dot, the blue square, are the anchor point of the offender. When we stopped this man, he was at the location of his partners, located in peak profile area, in the yellow orange area. The image number 2 and number 3 show the difference, different peak profile area. Inside this scenario, inside this area, the analyst will suggest the possible strategy in order to catch the offender. The strategy associated with the suspect list and strategy associated with the place, the possible strategy in specific area. So the result in this cyber crime case was good, but about the application of geographic profiling analysis in this case, we can make some consideration in order to analyze the possible limitation, the possible aspect, possible limitation in aspect. For example, if the offender used the same site, the same postal bank ATM, we have only one location, 2 locations. So it is possible. It is impossible work. It is impossible work with geographical profiling analysis under this condition, and this is one of the limitations when we use geographical profiling analysis in this cyber offender case. Well, the second case that I want to show with you all is about a serial robberies. We say the case, we are in south of Italy. We have 11 commercial robbery. The crime series involve 11 crime scene, as I said. I create a scenario, so this means that I excluded from my quantitative analysis some crime for methodological consideration, but I excluded this site, this crime, only from my quantitative analysis. So this means that I not excluded this case from my general qualitative analysis of this case, but just for methodological consideration, I excluded from my analysis some case. And this is geographical crime scene. This geographical crime scene of this case, as we see, it is different. The view of geographical crime scene is different from criminalistic crime scene. In geographical crime scene, the location, every crime site is a clue of the offender. In criminalistic crime scene, we have, for example, the blonde that represent a clue of a crime event. In geographical crime scene, every location, every crime site act as a clue. What do we see inside this crime scene? The first thing that we can say is the offender don't travel out the vertical line and don't travel out the horizontal line. We have a little hot spot inside the blue circle. The yellow arrow are the direction of the offender after the commit crime. We have also a crime in region mountain, the crime inside the red circle. So only a local offender know the way, know the street to go in this area. Some crime sites are located near the main road. Another aspect that we can see about this case, and from this aspect we can explain why this series show this great spread inside this area. Look at the zoning. We have specific zoning about this series: urban road, rural area, urban area, rural area, urban area, rural area, and finally the area near the coast. So this the specific zoning explain how the offender explain why the offender commit crime in this great area. So when we look at geographical crime machine, we need to make many consideration about the typology of a crime, about the typology of a specific crime machine, about the presence of road, highway, arteries, the specific zoning, as in this case, the socio-demographic aspect of the crime, the routine activity of the victim, especially in sexual aggression crime, the displacement of the offender, the timeline of a crime. So we have the geographical profiling is not just inserting data in personal computer. No, we have to make many consideration about a crime series when we work with this type of the investigation, with the geographical crime machine investigation. And now this slide show other geographical consideration about this series. The image number 1 show the criminal arrow, the crime order arrow. I created this map also with the geographical profiling tool with the software Rigel. The image number 2 show the hot time, the period, the day of a week of committed crime. Further consideration are, for example, the great spread of the great movement of the offender, the area of the crime site are in 640 square kilometers. Some location, some crime site are near the main road. The offender used a vehicle, and there is a similar socioeconomic area in all criminal scenario. These are further information, further geographical consideration that we can use in order to improve our analysis about this serial offender. And now let's see the geographic profile map. This is geographic profile map that I created. We are in south of Italy. This is a geographic profile map that I created after my qualitative analysis and my quantitative analysis. And now let's see the anchor point of the offender. And before to show the anchor point of the offender, I want to show the peak profile area on the Google Map. This is the peak profile area of the most probable area where it is possible to find the offender anchor point. And let's see now where is the anchor point of the offender. Well, this is a complete geographic. This is the suspect map geographic profile with the indication of position of the anchor point of the offender. The blue square are the anchor point of the offender. We have 3 blue squares. This case is particular because in this case we have a group of the offender in action. And in this group, we have 3 stable members, and the anchor point of the offense of these 3 stable members are located in peak profile area. Remember the basic consideration of the offender for the application of geographic profiling analysis. If we have more than one offender, they live together or nearby, and this case show practically this condition. This is a group of serial robberies. In this group of serial robberies, we have 3 stable members in action located in peak profile area. So also in this case, we have a good representation, a good feedback of geographic profiling analysis in order to analyze the serial crime, the serial offender. And now, I want to show just 2 differences between geographic profiling and spatial point and spatial mean. As I said, geographic profiling analysis is not just an arithmetical exercise. In the yellow triangle that we see inside this image show another method of crime distribution event called spatial mean, centroid. Sometimes some people use this method in order to find the possible anchor point area. But as I said, geographical profiling analysis don't show with an X, don't show with a point the real position of the offender. Spatial mean is an arithmetical point. Spatial mean is a synthetic point. Look at the difference between the position of the spatial mean and the real position of the anchor point of the offender. For example, in the second case, the case of commercial robbery, the position of the spatial mean is on mountain. So this position is so far from the real anchor point of the offender. And I show this image, this difference, because it is important to understand that geographical profiling analysis is an investigative strategy. Geographical profiling analysis is not a synthetic, don't show a synthetic point, don't show an arithmetical point. Well, I am finishing this presentation, and I want to say to you all that as police investigator, as crime analyst, as scholars, as academic with you all, we have a great role in our community. Develop knowledge and improve security. And it is possible only with these 3 pillars, according to my point of view: practice, research, training, respect in our community. I finished this presentation, and thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much to Professor Mishra to organize the commit of this forensic science event, to the dean of Amity University. If there are any questions, you can write me to my email, and I will happy to answer you without any problem. Happy holidays to you all, and thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Mishra, and all the best. And we can we will see in the next Amity University event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Domingo. Thank you very much for your informative session. Session is open for question and answer. Participants, if you have any question, please ask.
There are no questions. But if there are some question, if you can write me to my email, I have no problem to answer you without any problem.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Domingo. Have a nice day and wish
Thank you, Professor Mishra. Have you nice day.
advance. I wish you a happy new year.
Thank you again, and keep in touch. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Happy holidays to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. So, dear participants, now we are moving for our next session, and I wish to invite Honorable Director, Forensic Science Laboratory, Government of City of Delhi, Ms. Deepa Verma, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon to all of you, and greetings to all the participants who are attending this 7-day program. So my subject, which has been given to me, is chain of custody of the forensic sample in the laboratory. So is my PPT visible to all?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
So can I start now?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
So today, my topic with respect to this session is chain of custody of forensic sample in the laboratory. It is a very important aspect in any of the forensic laboratory while examining the samples in various divisions, because exhibit collection, exhibit transportation, exhibit storage, and its movement, as well as return back to the investigating agency, is very important part. And we have to be aware about the requirement. So what is chain of custody? Chain of custody of exhibit, which is very important part, refers to the chronological documentation of paper trial, showing the seizure, custody, control, transfer, analysis, and deposition of evidences in either physical or electronic mode. Documentation should include the condition under which the evidence is gathered, identity of all evidences, duration of custody, security condition while handling the evidences, and matter in which evidence is transferred to each custodian, so that at the time of trial, the evidential value should remain intact. So in the process of chain of custody, proper evidence packaging include appropriate packaging and label of all items which are sent to the laboratory for examination. Each item should be properly sealed, marked, and correct and consistent information should be recorded on it in the form of labels or other documentation processes, so that these information can give you accurate brief about the fact, about the sample, about the requirement. Information which is labeled or which is transformed should be consistent with all paperwork, and it should have necessary information in the form of who, what, when, where, which kind of things are there. So these are the requirement in chain of custody of documentation. So don't use generic terms while describing, and be specific as possible to describe the items, and it should be report based, fact based, and required information should be specific. So what the chain of custody is start from which place? It is start from the place from where the exhibits are collected. Exhibits may be collected from the scene of crime, or it may be collected by the investigating agencies during the course of investigation. And in many cases, it are collected in the form of digital media, digital mode. So information can be collected in any mode, but that should be in a recorded manner. And that should give us the brief and detail of the requirement with respect to the particular case examination and particular work, which is required to be done by the experts in the laboratory. What it needs? It is a basic question. And the idea behind it to establish the alleged evidences in fact relates to the alleged crime. The chain of custody, documentation, and testimony is presented by the prosecution to establish the substance in evidence was in fact in possession of a defendant. It also helped to find if the evidence has been misplaced or left unattended or by any of the investigating agencies, investigating officer, or the person who is handling these kind of evidences. So it is very important chain of custody and its documentation. While getting it in the form of formal documentation, evidence found from the scene of crime must eventually presented in the and questioned in courtroom. In order to ensure validity of evidence, the investigator must allow a routine commonly known as chain of custody when it comes to the collecting and handling of the evidences. So whenever evidences are to be recorded in formal requirement, it should have the name of agency, item details, date of collection, case number, and details of evidences, and the chain of custody also include from which agency or from which source it has been collected and to whom it has been handed over. Chain of custody may contain the information from investigating officer to the reporting officer, and also the received back information on it. So as far as its introduction is concerned, the term chain of custody refers to the chronological documentation associated with the evidences that record all details from paperwork to disposal. First is documentation. So what documentation cover? And what it is purpose? The purpose of documentation is to record detailed information about the evidences. And what is the procedure of it? It is a complete chain of custody form detailing the date, time, location, and individual involved in its collection. And it includes a description of evidences and relevant circumstances. Now it comes after documentation to whom this exhibit or this case property has been transferred. So transfer of custody, what is the purpose of it? Purpose is document the handover the evidences from one party to another. It goes into recorded form, and procedure is whenever custody changes, record the transfer on the chain of custody form, include the name and signature of individual who are involved in the process of transferring. Whenever this property is hand over to the agency, then receiving person is very important party and person. So purpose is related to this is confirming the receipt of evidences, and the receiving party acknowledge the receipt of chain of custody form, providing its signature, date, time of receipt, so that accurate information remain regarding handing over and taking over. Then process of analysis start, and purpose of at that time chain of custody of a document or any of the exhibit is to conduct scientific or forensic examination of the evidences. And document analysis process include method use, result, sampling, any necessary record during the sampling process. These all are recorded during this process also. And final deposition is to determine the final status of these evidences. Once the analysis is complete, the evidence is no longer needed, the document in its final returning form are mentioned in the chain of custody form to the concerned agency. So this is the pictorial situation. Sealed parcel with document are received in the laboratory for verifying, having all details, which type of examination is required, which type of sample is there, which type of queries are raised by the investigating agencies, how many suspect or how many persons are involved for the examination. These all information with documents are received at the forensic science laboratory. Then file is prepared and parcel are handed over to the concerned division. So these are preserved in cold storage or in the division as per requirement of their safe custody. Then file and details are forwarded to the concerned expert after allotment of the cases where this custody is maintained with him or her. Then after studying of parcel, detailed examination are conducted, and after testing this, parcel and remnants are again resealed and preserved in the cold storage as per requirement. If it is biological sample, then preserved in cold storage, and other samples are preserved in other safe custody mode. After that, examination is completed, all chains are maintained, all informations are maintained, then sealed parcels are handed over to the messenger along with results either in sealed envelope or in the online forms. So laboratory have various divisions. Either it is chemistry division, biology division, document division, and each and every division has its specification for examination, and a specific kind of exhibits are received in the laboratory for such kind of examination. As far as chemistry division of any of the laboratory is concerned in forensic area, forensic domain, these chemical forensics are covering examination of drugs that are NDPS drugs, toxicologic sample for examination of various kind of toxins, arson cases in arson investigation, explosive analysis, and other kind of activities. So broadly, these can be categorized into 4 areas. Classification of work of chemistry can be toxicology examination in broader form, NDPS drugs and substances examination, general chemistry, and explosive. As far as toxicology is concerned, we receive various kind of exhibit for examination of toxin substances, either it be stomach, intestine, liver, kidney, brain, lungs, spleen, and body fluids also. Other than that, non-biological samples are also referred for toxicology examination, which can be various kind of drugs, substances, chemicals, injections, series, tablets, etc. So preservation and sampling handling is different in both the way. The biological samples are stored in a controlled temperature, whereas these other substances as per requirement. So storage of VISTA and biological sample. All VISTA and biological samples received from various forwarding authorities are kept in a cold storage with a specified temperature and relative humidity. The temperature and relative humidity of storage is periodically checked and recorded. Only valid and authorized staffs are allowed to enter for maintaining proper chain custody of the exhibits, and the access control are installed in storage and examination room to prevent unauthorized entries. In the NDPS units or NDPS cells of chemistry divisions, the type of exhibits which are received are DODA, post-DODA powder, opium, smack powder, new designer drug, cocaine powders, plant, bhang, charas, ganja, prohibited drugs, and chemicals. The kind of substances which generally received in general chemistry examination is petrol, diesel, kerosene, solvent, and other kind of various substances like burnt clothes, burnt skin, hair, acid cloth, unknown chemicals, prohibited medical and chemicals. Various kind of exhibits which are received for explosive is potassium nitrate, unknown explosive, high and low explosive, green crackers, post-blast residues, and many kind of exhibits. So these are the broader areas which receive in chemistry examination in any of the laboratory, and area and variety can be very, very vast and unknown previously. Biology division of any of the forensic laboratory, in which also a very important part chain of custody and type of exhibit. As we know in biology division, physical evidences, physical cases relates with the various kind of under section registration case in 302, 307, 376A, 498 and other kinds of various broader area of examination. It covers sexual assault, murder, suicide, burning, drowning, and death cases, dacoity, kidnapping, and other, which involve examination of various kind of clothes of victim and accused, suspect, animal wildlife samples, vaginal element slabs, hairs, skeleton, bone, teeth, skin, tissue, and nail clipping, etc. So these biological samples are preserved in controlled conditions, and the process of handing over and collecting these sample is as similarly standard accepted process as per SOPs. Document division is a very important part in any of the forensic lab, where we receive various kind of exhibits like economic offenses cases, forgeries document, land mafia, scam, bank fraud, extortion, suicide note, murder, copyright act, typescript examination, addition, alteration, obliteration, decipherment, difference in ink, paper comparison, security document, currency, voter ID card, driving license, passport, court stamp paper, and various kind of examination. Multiple type exhibits are received with various kind of queries, and paperwork, reporting proper channel with head of division in the same standard form with various kind of queries, and many kind of requirement of comparison of ink, paper. So the process of handover of exhibit is followed through checking written receive exhibit, proper record, confidentiality is maintained during the whole process. Cyber forensic division is the latest area in any of the forensic laboratory, as cyber forensic crime has no limit, and it have vast variety because of popularity of electronic devices which are being used by the person in day-to-day activities. So it may be fraud through internet generated e-commerce offenses, e-banking fraud, social media related crimes, cyber crime, journal crime, crimes which are sensitive towards nation security, infiltration. There may be terrorist crime through the cyber mode, and indecent representation of any of the person's identity. Many cases through cyber data exchange are defamation, data hiding, tampering, deletion, fake document, fraud, gambling, bookies, pornography, money laundering, sniffing, intellectual property right related to cybercrime, video authentication, enhancement, CCTV footage, and general type of crimes related from computer, mobile devices, CCTV cameras, laptops, tablets, electronic devices, and other memory devices. So its examination cover vast areas, and broadly it can be categorized into 6 areas, which pertains with the examination of computer, laptop, tablet, and DVR devices. There may be any kind of memory card, magnetic
Please wait for a few minutes. Some electricity issue.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I think there is some electricity issue, or net issue. It shall not be possible to share the PPT, but whichever can be discussed in brief, I shall try to do, because
Please,
I
ma'am.
have connected with another other device. So we shall continue whichever is possible.
Ma'am, please. Yes, ma'am.
PPT is not possible to share with this.
No, ma'am. You can directly tell, ma'am. No issue.
Actually, okay, thank you. Okay. So, as far as ballistic division is concerned, we are receiving various kind of exhibit in ballistic division. There we receive exhibit for firearms, GCR particle examination, cartridge shell, cases, empty, wet, pellets, bullets, gunpowder, and target objects, country-made pistol, firearms under Arms Act. So these kind of exhibits, when we receive, we have to maintain the proper chain of custody of the exhibit, as this is very important in ballistic division, because this relates with the important evidences, either in the cases of murder or gang war and other kind of Physics division of this laboratory received examination exhibits in the form of vehicle in the cases pertaining to vehicle theft, burglary, robbery, kidnapping, industrial vehicle accident, murder, hit run cases, adulteration in the material for road, building, dam, bridge, etc., and other arson cases, short circuit cases, etc. And we also receive various kind of cases for footwear and other tire mark comparison. It may be paint, soil, shoes, tire impression, genuine or fake parts of machinery, textile, fabric, chassis number, engine number examination in the cases of vehicle, which may be used in various kind of crimes, paint examination, metal, duplication material, tampering and registration, number plate, ligature marks, etc. So photo division is also getting various kind of case for examination. It may be for the photograph matching, and the cases also for the suspect photography, which are later at later stages are using for the CCTV footage comparison. So various kind of photography is taken, and these are further beneficial for the CCTV footage comparison and examination. So photography pertains to crime scene photography, suspect and accused photography, photography comparison, and various kind of internal support. So in work of each and every division, it is essential requirement that chain and custody of sample or exhibit in the laboratory is maintained in a proper way, which should be tamper-proof and clearly specifically have time and detail of exhibit by the person who is handing over these kind of exhibit and who is taking. Further kind of examination is for speaker authentication and voice comparison. So in the voice comparison cases, subjects come to the laboratory for recording of voice, and later stages with the clipping of phone or other media, the comparison of audio and video is made by this division. So psychology is also one of the part of forensic laboratory, where very kinds of statement of truth or lie are tested pertaining to the complainant, pertaining to the suspect or subject, through various kind of scientific examination like polygraph test, LVSA test, narco test, brain mapping test, and the statement of suspect and subject are specified. Crime scene management division या crime scene management mobile forensics is very important aspect of present days forensic area, in which evidence management is as critical and as important as the traveling of exhibit in the laboratory, and it should be taken care of with a proper documentation part. So it is very significant and important pertaining to cases of murder and suicide, sexual assault, POXO cases, road accident cases, arson cases, chemical or acid attack cases, falling from a height, hanging cases, explosive cases, gun firing cases, burn charred document cases, sewer death cases, electrocution cases, CCTV, DVR, and other cyber-related cases, friendly and forceful entries, unidentified bodies examination. These all pertains with the area of mobile forensic veins or crime scene examination, in which movement of team is also very important part. As in when a call is received from the investigating officer, we prepare a team of forensic expert as per requirement of and nature of the case, and this team get its request registered through ICGS mode, and then control room with a required information, a deputy officer with a specific kits, they conduct a scientific examination at the place, and after that the relevant exhibit are handed over to the police, or they assist the investigating agencies for the same. So something are important what to do and what not to do when we have to collect these kind of sample from the scene of crime, or while we are taking sample and while we are preserving these in the laboratory. So whenever it is blood stains or blood samples, then it is required to be preserved in the paper envelope with air dried conditions for getting good result as far as biological examination is concerned, DNA examination is concerned, and other comparison is required. But it should never be preserved in the plastic envelope because it can deteriorate the sample and there may be fungal and other infections which may affect the result. As far as acid and corrosive exhibits are concerned, when these are to be kept in a proper condition and these are required for the good result, then these acids and corrosive substances are to be kept in a glass container. It should be taken care of that any of such kind of exhibit should not be preserved in any of the plastic container. Whenever it comes for arson exhibits, then it is required to be preserved in heat-sealed plastic bags, further kept in airtight glass container. It is very essential requirement and it should be kept in mind and it should be kept by the person for information that it should not be kept in the container which can be come in the direct contact of air and having loose caps as far as arson exhibits are concerned. When inflammable chemical or unknown chemicals are there, they are again to preserve in glass container with tight seal, and plastic container should be avoided in such materials. Whenever it is preservation of cartridge and bullets, they should be preserved in paper or sealed envelope boxes, wooden boxes as per requirement, size of exhibit. But these should not be kept collectively in the one and the same container. That should be kept separately as far as good collection and preservation practices are concerned. Whenever it comes for biological sample, either in the form of bone or teeth or other kind of tissues, then it should be preserved in a properly sealed cloths, or it should never be preserved in the plastic container or in the formulate, because this will either deteriorate the quality of sample or it will inhibit the DNA examination. As far as narcotic drugs are concerned, these should be in Ziploc polythene pouches and it should not be preserved in the loose paper or porous containers. Now come for the digital evidences, then digital devices should be kept in a Ferrari bag and it should be avoided to keep in an open condition or some simple plastic containers. So preservation and safe custody of exhibit, it is the requirement that the sample, when it is received in the laboratory after completion of documentation and formal requirement, then biological sample like semen, saliva, tissue, bone, clothes should be kept in dried and low temperature areas. As far as electronic devices are concerned, they should be kept in Faraday bags and that should also be stored in low temperature. Whenever bullet cartridge and other exhibit of ballistics are concerned, they should be kept in separate containers in safe custody. As far as GSR particle examination is concerned, then GSR should be taken on cotton and should be kept in plastic Ziploc container that should also be stored in a low temperature humidity. NDPS sample is to be kept in a temperature where relative humidity and other parameters should be regularly monitored by the experts or the team of technicians. As far as audio video exhibits are concerned, they should be again kept in Faraday bags and that should be stored in low temperature areas. Paint, varnish and other physical materials required low temperature. Documents like checkbook, checks, counterfeit currency, chart document, stamp papers, and other evidences related to forensic document examination should be kept. It should be handled only with care and unnecessary handling, folding should be avoided in these areas. So as far as chain of custody of exhibit is concerned, and various kind of variety of exhibits are received in various division. First step is the receiving of these exhibit in the laboratory. That is done with the proper documentation. And after after getting it registered, the movement is in the division under the command and control of division head. Wherever requirement is there, it is allotted and it is handed over to the expert. Expert take examination. After that, after the examination, these are sealed and again returned back to the agency for for their requirement. And all these are done through the secure standard SOP system. In the laboratory, in forensic laboratory, we are using ICGS system. So what is ICGS system and why it is required? It is required for safe chain, for maintaining the chain of custody of the exhibit. It is an interoperable criminal justice system with blockchain management. It is a platform for enabling integration of the main IT system used for delivery of criminal justice system in the country. It have its 5 pillars. It is police, prosecution, laboratory, prison, and judiciary. So e-forensic is used by the forensic laboratory, e-court is used by the courts, e-prosecution by the public prosecutor, and prison are using e-prison software. These all systems are being maintained by the NIC and NCRB through their data exchange, and it is dedicated with a secure cloud-based infrastructure systems and high-speed connectivity. So e-forensic application is being used in Delhi Forensic Science Laboratory and Delhi Police. And now blockchain technology has been added to create unchangeable and transparent record for chain of custody of the evidences, making Forensic Science Laboratory at the first institution of its kind in the country to use this technology. So Delhi Police and FSL Delhi is using blockchain technology for chain of custody of the exhibit, and this is Delhi is the first stage to practice this kind of system, this kind of practice, and this was inaugurated by our Honorable LG on 17 August, and it is very important and a good software and good technology which give tamper-proof handing over details and receipt and other information data sharing without spending much more time. So these are the requirements, these are the procedure which we are using for the movement of exhibit in the laboratory. And it is very important part that this should be maintained carefully so that at the time of evidence, its value should not be lesser or it should be questioned. So it is very important. And as per requirement of new kind of exhibits, it is important to drive to analyze the proper chain custody of the exhibit so that the effect and impact of forensic report be remain in a good values and good position for the criminal trial and justice delivery system. So thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your very knowledgeable session about setup of forensic science laboratory and chain of custody, how we need to manage. That is very important. And during the NABL assessment, we also check these things. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now session is open for question and answer. Yes, audience, participants, if you have any question, please ask. No any question? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Now, you are not audible, ma'am. You are not audible. Yes,
My good for New Year weeks to come. So all of you wishing a happy New Year, which is coming soon, and good luck to all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So now we are moving for our last session of the day and also last session of third edition of 7 days faculty development program. So now I wish to invite Professor Dr. Bhupen Singh. Dr. Bhupen Singh is a very good advisor from my PhD time. He is guiding me, and after my PhD, when I joined Amity, he also guided my PhD students. So, Professor Singh completed his PhD in May 1997 from Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, Institute of Medical Sciences, BHU, Varanasi, in collaboration of AIIMS, New Delhi. His MSc in Forensic Science from Dr. Hari Singh Gaur University, Sagar, in October 1991. Now presently he is professor cum toxicologist in Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, Rajendra Institute of Medical Sciences, Ranchi, Jharkhand, India. He is supervised 6 PhD scholars, 5 masters students, and 3 ICMR Inspire Fellows. Total scientific paper published by him 57, international level 22, national level 35, books 2, and chapters in books 2. He is also a life member of many reputed professional organizations like American Association of the Advancement of Science, Indian Science Congress Association, Society of Toxicology, Indian Society of Toxicology, International Association of Forensic Toxicologists. He has also conducted many conferences and seminars. So now I wish to invite Professor Singh. Sir, over to you.
Okay, good evening to all of you. I hope I will be here, audible to all of you.
Yes, sir, you are proper audible.
And this PPT series properly visible to all of you, or
Visual, sir, proper visual.
okay. So first of all, I would like to thanks to chairman and organizing secretary of this particular event, who has provided me opportunity to share my views with you people. So today, actually, Dr. Amarnath has given a brief introduction about myself, but he is really very good person, and not by heart, but also by conduct. So he suggested me to at least, sir, you can speak somewhere which can be new venue for a forensic scientist, what we are coming forward to see in future. And I am a forensic toxicologist, and I may say now since I'm working in a government medical college, and previous that I was working in Manipal, and I was providing my consultancy to the physicians to helping in treating the poisoning patients. So I may say, since in India there is no specific individualized branch where a person can get training as a clinical toxicologist. So generally, forensic people manage somewhere if required on the call basis. Recently, uh, actually, before go that, just I want to quote from Samuel Fur. According to him, generally the different kinds of murder Just 1 minute. Different kind of murders are the different means by which it is committed may be reduced to poison. So first he has definitely in previous those days, ancient time, to kill a person or to kill an enemy, use poisons, poisonous substances. Later, they have developed some weapons, so created wounds, bruise, drowning, and strangulation. These are the most commonly encountered cases for murder as to perform autopsy in any center. So the two first seems to be most common. The third is often rather a remote than a proximate cause. And the two others are chiefly discovered by the facts rather than by any peculiar marks they leave on the body. So poison generally don't leave any peculiar marks in the body where you can identify this is a case of murder due to poison. So a role of forensic toxicologist is very significant to help out to judiciary in particular such cases. Recently, NMC, National Medical Council, previously it was MCI, Medical Council of India, those who have followed a modification or a changes in the undergraduate medical education board uh, under at the date of 23rd June 23, where they have given a scope to forensic scientists, forensic science discipline principles. They have mentioned that where Department of Forensic Medicine is having Poison Information Center and Analytical Toxicology Laboratory or Forensic Science Laboratory, then it shall be following steps for running this facility 24 hours, 7 days, other than faculties and SR and infrastructure as detailed. So according to them, at least center should have one senior forensic scientist, one junior forensic scientist, scientific assistant toxicologist, one, and lab technician, two posts, technician assistant, two, storekeeper cum clerk computer, one, and peon and attendant, T. So according to me, actually, definitely it is a very good news because previous those days when we are doing particular this work, definitely no, there are no scope. Sometimes we feel like we are where we'll go, what will be our career, where we make our career. But by looking this statement, at least I feel very happy, and maybe our forensics students, they may get opportunity to work under any such uh, uh, job portfolio. So toxicology, just I want to press your memory that is toxicology is the study of action, adverse effect, fatal dose, signs and symptoms, detection and treatment of poisoning. Generally, we classify define toxicology like this, but toxicologists imply a multidisciplinary approach, drawing from fields such as pharmacology, biochemistry, pathology, molecular biology, and environmental sciences to investigate how substances interact with biological system and resulting impact on human health as well as health of animals and ecosystem. So to become a toxologist or especially clinical toxicology or pharmacology, this forensic toxicologist, a person should have knowledge about pharmacology, its relevant aspects, biochemistry, pathology, and some aspect of the molecular biology and environmental sciences. Without these, it is really challenging and person may not justified with his or her position. What are the different branches of toxicology? Here you can see clinical toxicology, nutritional toxicology, environmental toxicology, analytical toxicology, occupational molecular, forensic, immunology, ecotoxicology, regulatory toxicology. So there are different applications of general toxicology, and according to application, they have classified in different branches. But today we are going to discuss only clinical and little bit about the forensic toxicology. So when we see what are the application about the forensic toxicology and clinical toxicology. So according to this, within the field of analytical toxicology, generally, basically sometimes people understand about the forensic, especially forensic toxicology means only the chemical examiners, those who are working in the forensic science laboratory, and the person who have background in chemistry. तो केमिस्ट्री जिनकी अच्छी है वो बहुत अच्छे टॉक्सिकोलॉजिस्ट कहलाएंगे, ऐसा पहले था, ठीक है, बट इट इज रियली नॉट perfect. And those days, I told you, no such a specialty, no background education system was developed, evolved in India, where I can, at least pupils will get exposure, where they can make career in as a toxicologist. But nowadays, definitely, there are a lot of institutions and universities those who are providing specialized training in toxicology. So, analytical toxicology means analysis of the poison, which can be applied for the purpose of clinical toxicology or forensic toxicology. So, the difference between both specialties is only the final use of the obtained result. What are the results provided by the laboratory where we are going to apply? This is purpose either for the purpose of patients or for the purpose of the judiciary. Only the difference is that, and little bit differences are there when we are analyzing the samples, when you are selecting the samples, and when you are presenting these results. So, in addition to patients, generally we deal for the clinical diagnosis. There are some other scope also where a clinical toxicologist or forensic toxicologist can work, like a center which are drug detoxification center, or you can say drug dependence centers, where the patients, those who are suffering, those who are exposed, chronic exposures of the different drugs, if they are offering for a treatment. So a forensic toxicologist, they can also play a significant role in the not only diagnosis of a abusers, but also in their treatment plan. So clinical toxicologists, what generally they will do? Clinical toxicologist generally we consider as a person who is medically qualified graduate, who has a specialist knowledge of the adverse effects of drugs and other chemicals in humans, and especially how to treat patients who have been exposed to a toxic substances. Unfortunately, in our country, there is no independent specialty as a clinical toxicologist till now available. This works done by a general medicine person in any hospitals. So a patient when comes to casualty with any suspected poisoning, generally they refer to the general medicine person, and medicine persons, they will look forward and they try to diagnose the cases, and they may take help from the Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, and but very few centers, those who are offering, they have a collaboration with forensic medicine and toxicology, and especially the interest in the area of the toxicology is really not very appreciable nowadays, but maybe getting, people are now joining to become a clinical toxicologist or a forensic toxicologist. बस इसके पहले लोग जनरली कोशिश करते थे नहीं नहीं इसमें कौन देखेगा, सोचो नहीं, बेकार है। टॉक्सिकोलॉजी का जो है कुछ स्कोप नहीं है। दे जनरली एनिमल बेस्ड टॉक्सिकोलॉजी की बात करते थे, जैसे ITRC लखनऊ है या CDRI लखनऊ, जहाँ पे हमको रिसर्च की बात करते हैं, ना कि टॉक्सिकोलॉजी की बात करते हैं, क्लिनिकल टॉक्सिकोलॉजी या फोरेंसिक टॉक्सिकोलॉजी का। So physicians working as clinical toxicologists are responsible for providing advice on how to treat patients who have been poisoned with a drug or other substances, either accidentally or intentionally. So they are expert in interpreting the results of analysis performed in poison patients. Both either forensic toxicologists or the clinical toxicologists, both work interpretation is very important. What are the results received from the analytical toxicology? They have to interpret. Clinical toxicology generally interpreted for the benefit of the patients, and forensic toxicologists interpret the results, analytical results or findings for the benefit of the just law and order, or you can administration of justice in court of law. So those who are not medically trained may provide support to clinical colleagues by analyzing samples from patients to identify for the presence of toxic substances such as drugs or toxins or other indicators of the poisoning. In fact, this work should be done previously, but now MCI have recognized these things, which are definitely a non-medical person like a forensic scientist, those who have specialized in toxicology, they can help to the any hospital center, any center, especially by providing their expertise in analysis, not only analysis, in interpretation of these particular findings of the analytical results. And same times, they can present the findings in the court. In fact, मैं बताना चाहूँगा, एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई थी हमारे वर्कशॉप WHO ने ऑर्गेनाइज किया था इन एम्स में 1999 में। उस समय हो रहा था even that those centers who are offering an analytical analysis for the poison patients, लेकिन वो लोग जो है लिखते थे उसमें कि this particular result applied only for clinical purpose, not for medical legal purpose. तो आप समझिए रीजन क्या था, nobody want to go court for the evidence, सब लोग डरते थे। आज भी फिजिशियन से बात करिए, अगर कोई फिजिशियन से, वो कहेगा भाई कोर्ट नहीं जाना पड़े मुझे, मैं ऐसा काम करूंगा। ओनली फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन पीपल्स जिनकी बाइंडिंग है कोर्ट में जाने की, वो लोग पहले से तैयार रहते हैं कि नहीं भाई मुझे कोर्ट में गवाही देना ही है, इसलिए मैं कोर्ट जाऊंगा। लेकिन ज्यादा तक लोग होते थे, तो इसी तरह से जो टॉक्सिकोलॉजिस्ट जनरल टॉक्सिकोलॉजिस्ट होते थे, अगर उनसे बोला जाता था कि भाई ये सैंपल आया हुआ है, सस्पेक्टेड पॉइजनिंग का केस है, आप क्या इसको एनालाइज करके दे सकते हैं? और सीधा हाथ खड़ा कर देते, नहीं 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 साहब, कौन कोर्ट के चक्कर में पड़ेगा, जो है हम नहीं जाना चाहते हैं, तो दे रिफ्यूज। लेकिन फॉरेंसिक साइंटिस्ट अगर है, कोई फॉरेंसिक साइंस डिग्री के साथ में कोई पर्सन है, अगर उनकी बाइंडिंग होगी कि नहीं भाई ये केस हमको एनालाइज करना है, चाहे कोर्ट जाना हो या नहीं जाना हो, तो एक बेटर प्लस पॉइंट है हमारे साथ जो है कि हम कोर्ट में किसी भी सैंपल को एनालाइज करने के लिए हम फ्री हैं और हम एनालाइज कर सकते हैं। Okay, further, so what's about the forensic toxicologist? Forensic toxicology is the application of toxicology to issue and cases where those adverse effects may have medico-legal consequences with results used in court. So the forensic toxicology imply the disciplinary in the toxicology, analytical chemistry, and pharmacology to detect, quantify, and interpret drug findings in a wide variety of biological specimens. The specific role of forensic toxicologists varies slightly depending on the specific discipline, major as follows, like death investigations. Death investigations means where to find out what is the cause of death in particular case. So forensic doctors work with a medical examiner or coroner, because nowadays coroners are absoluted or deleted from our in the country. Now only the exam inquest systems or investigation systems which exist in the police inquest and medical examiners is also not there. So police inquest generally depends on which they refer the cases to the medical examiners. So they need help of the medical examination for conduction of the autopsy or to diagnose the cases of it is a case of poisoning or not, or any malpractice is there with the body. So contribution of alcohol, drugs and poisons, there are so many things, those who are maybe responsible to cause of death. It is responsibility of the particular a postmortem toxicology or a forensic toxicologist to identify. So drug identification and quantification are typically performed in blood, urine, tissue samples, and maybe some other samples also, where we can perform. But in case of postmortem toxicology, generally these samples are available, blood, urine, and tissue samples. But you can see here, in autopsy cases, majority we can preserve or we can collect the tissue only. Very less chances where we can get blood, especially when IO requested to collect the blood or urine. Urine also is very rarely available, or available, then we have to collect from the blood, but only on the special request from the IO. But the routine body fluids or viscera is only the viscera contents we preserve, especially for toxicological analysis. And the unfortunate part is that with these things, we use only saturated sodium chloride solution for as a preservative, and that preservative is generally viscera kept in the autopsy or in the Department of Forensic Medicine for a long time, and police will come maybe after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depends on their need, and they will collect these samples, these viscera. Meantime, maybe the poisons which was present in the tissues may be degraded. So degradation is a very common phenomena in all biological samples. So really it is a need of research where we can find out how long a pesticide or any other poisons which can stable in viscera in such conditions. So forensic toxic interpretations of these results helps with the medical examiners or coroners determine cause of death and manner of death. So another is human performance toxicology. Generally, this also is not very much common or very much applicable in our country, but in other country, generally when they employ a person or the person who are working in any organizations, randomly they will check their what is the, especially if they suspect person is taking some alkaloids or some uh, drugs which is not particular medication drugs or any suspect, then they have to go for such examinations and they find out if particular workers they have properly performed or not. If not, then maybe some reasons like alcohol or drugs in the urine, and this is also responsibility of a forensic toxicologist to help in particular such cases. Doping control is another one that is it also we can see here many rules governing performance enhancing drugs used in sports. So these rules are set to protect the health and welfare of athletes, maintain fair competitions, and avoid wagering fraud. So how we come to know that particular player which have taken some doping drugs which enhance, then this is also needs to be analyzed blood and urine samples to find out if any either residue or metabolites of the particular drugs present in any samples. Then now we will talk about the clinical toxicology. So clinical toxicology, you can see here, generally based on the screening of drugs or screening of the poisons. For screening, you can apply such tests. A chemical test where you can get group test, जहाँ पे हमको पता चला पर्टिकुलर सैंपल है हमारा, जिसको हम सस्पेक्ट जो सस्पेक्टेड पॉइजनिंग का केस है हमारा, ब्लड यूरिन या जो भी, हम सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि इसमें बार्बिचरेट ग्रुप्स के कोई कंपाउंड्स हैं या कोई अवॉइड ग्रुप्स के कोई कंपाउंड है या आर्गोनाफॉस्फोरस ग्रुप के कोई कंपाउंड्स हैं इसमें, तो उनके लिए हम केमिकल टेस्ट जनरली लगाते हैं फॉर स्क्रीनिंग पर्पज। ठीक है कि हाँ अच्छा ये ग्रुप पता चल गया हमको, अब ये ग्रुप को मानिए आर्गोनाफॉस्फोरस है, अब आर्गोनाफॉस्फोरस में मैलाथियान है या पैराथियान है या डाइजिनान है, कोई ज्यादा मैटर नहीं रखता फॉर टीचिंग सॉरी फॉर ट्रीटमेंट पर्पज, but for forensic purpose definitely it matter to find out exactly what chemicals or what particular compounds have been ingested and which amount. So वो ये स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट से नहीं पता चलेगा। ठीक है, तो अभी हमको देखना पड़ेगा कि क्वांटिटेटिव एंड क्वालिटेटिव टेस्ट करने पड़ेंगे। तो पहला क्वालिटेटिव, have to identify what particular poisons presence in the body. The presence or absence of a drug or poisons in a submitted sample, that is. And another is that if you have to identify particular poisons present in the body, then what amount? That amount is really culpable to cause death or sufficient to cause the death, or it just merely presence in the body. These are the things when you interpret the findings, then you may need this result. Suppose if you take an example like a 30-year-old mother of 2 child, she was excellent until 8 months prior to her admission to the hospital. When she developed an apparent viral syndrome characterized by persistent nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea with low-grade fever and rashes. Within 2 weeks, she developed a symmetrical paresthesia and weakness in both her hand and feet. These symptoms progressed and resulted in a diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome. You can see here, you have to make a differential diagnosis when you are examining a patient. So physicians, they have confusion. This is particular patient is suffering with Guillain-Barré syndrome or something else. So during the following 2 months, she had several episodes of severe GI distress, means gastroenteritis distress. 2 weeks prior to her death, she was hospitalized for mental confusion, hypotension, and seizures. Her condition improved until she had dinner with her husband, after which she developed severe GI distress again. So her condition then gradually deteriorated until death. So here you can see here the suspected person is that her husband. Though have dinner and after dinner patient has health is get deteriorated. So a lot of investigation they have done, but the laboratory misplaced results for the presence of arsenic in her blood. So it was 2.1 milligram per 100 ml blood. So that means you can see the role of a forensic toxicologist. They have finally diagnosed the case particular person that lady was suffering from a arsenic poisoning. And her husband was put in the prison according to the law. Okay. So now you can see generally when a suspected case of poisoning reached to the hospital, what are the steps where you can follow the particular patients? First, we have to go for general management of poisoning patients. General management means first our priority, if physician's priority is that how to stabilize the vital system. That means providing supportive treatment. Once patients get stabilized, then they try to diagnose what are the nature of the particular poison or what are the particular disease or particular virus, bacteria who are responsible to develop such complications or particular patients. In supportive care and diagnosis, we can take help from the Poison Information Center. And diagnosis is based on generally on the basis of history given by the either patients or patient's relative and the clinical features complained by the patients. And laboratory supports means generally we see what are the especially like liver function test, kidney function test, and some enzymes which may be helpful to establish the diagnosis of particular the patients. So these are the things. But what is the problem with this diagnosis? Generally, sometimes patients comes with unconscious. That means he not able to give proper history. Neighbors or any relatives, those who are brought the patients to the hospital, they may not be very much aware of the incident. And sometimes even that if patient is conscious, but he is not telling correct story because he do not want to live. He have taken suicide attempt. So in these things, it's really very challenging task to a physicians to making a proper diagnosis and treatment. So diagnosis, as I told you, based on these things, the role of clinical features, it may be only indicates the class of poisons involved because the clinical features may produce many poisons, similar features produced by many poisons. So if you take example of organophosphorus compound, which is most commonly used for suicidal or accidental purpose, in accidental cases. So you can see that a such syndrome may produce by organophosphorus compounds, carbamates, and physiostigmine. These are some chemicals which produce similar type of clinical features and symptoms. So it may make confusions to make a proper diagnosis. You can see here toxidrome, that is cholinergic sludge syndrome, means salivation, increased salivation, increased lacrimation, urinary retentions is there, diarrhea and GI cramps and emesis. These symptoms produced by drugs like carbamates, organophosphorus, physiostigmine, and pilocarpine. So a problem with this, if patients comes with these complaints, so this particular because of carbamate or because of the organophosphates or because of this. Problem is that in symptomatic and supportive treatments, you can give according to this sign and symptoms developed by the but exact diagnosis is required when you need a antidotes for to treat the patient. So in case of carbamates, there is no need to administer or to advise any antidote. But in case of organophosphate, a antidote is required. Without antidote, it is not possible to treat the patient perfectly and properly. So you have to get help from the either from the history where you can get a clue or something. Patient have taken particular empty containers maybe available at the site scene where patient have last seen, or some other places somebody has been. So these things should be available, and more accurately we can analyze by blood and urine sample to identify what type of poisons ingested by the patients. If it is clear that person has taken carbamates, there definitely they don't need to give an antidotes. But in case patients have taken organophosphorus, any compounds about OP compounds, then definitely needs a antidotes that is formed. So indication for toxicology testing that basic reasons for requesting lab tests for diagnosis, confirmation, monitoring and screening. This is the basic purpose. Diagnosis, confirmation of the particular poisons, nature of the poisons, monitoring patient's prognosis is monitoring, and screening. So test for poisons that a patient is brought to have taken and for which a specific therapy is available are given priority. Severity of the poisoning can be assessed on the basis of quantitative analysis. Where a diagnosis of poisoning is uncertain, example like children, they are not able to provide any history. Unconscious persons found in absence or evidence of violence or diseases. So differential diagnosis of coma, severely ill patients. In such cases, this laboratory investigations, laboratory test is very much helpful. Where administration of antidote depends on the uh, report and description of the particular poisons, plasma, or blood, the prognosis of complication or fatal outcome of the poisoning. You can see a particular person if somebody has taken cypermethrin all out. As you can see, if you confirm by the lab test, this particular person have ingested cypermethrin, then definitely prognosis is very good and fatal dose, as you know, 1 milligram per kg body weight, that is too much. 70 milligram allowed need to be take for the fatal. So at least a physician, treating physician, okay, no problem. This person is prognosis very good, and this will we can take care for this. So, but in case of if really if you don't know what type of particular poisons have ingested, it will put a big dilemma, and it is very challenges for the any treating physicians. Diagnosis and comparison of brain death to investigate a chemical accident. So these are the indications where a toxicology laboratory test is required to help physicians and treating particular patients. Steps undertaken analytical toxicology investigation. Generally, these steps are required like pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical phases. So what are these things? Just you go through. Steps undertaken analytical toxicology investigation, that is pre-analytical phase deals with the acquisition or sampling of the specimens, how to collect the sample, how to get the samples, then how to store these specimens for before analysis, how to transport these specimens to the lab, how to request physicians or pre-analytical phase is a crucial step for toxicology investigations. So uh, you have to ask treating physicians what are the signs and symptoms generally appear, so that at least you can guess, you can make a screening before going for a confirmation. Obtain patient's medical history if available, ensure access to the appropriate samples, and decide the priorities for the analysis. You have to, this will help you to decide the priorities for analysis. This is opium groups or cannabis or some like group test you can perform. Obtain details of suspected poisoning episodes, including circumstantial evidence of poisoning, biochemical and hematological findings. So, blood. How much blood is required? that is plasma or serum normally reserved for quantitative assay, but for some poisons such as antibiotics, metals, carbon monoxide, cyanide, anticoagulant blood has to be used. Minimum sampling, serum or plasma 5 ml blood, whole blood 10 ml, fluoride auxiliates 20 milligram per ml tube should be used if you are suspecting or physician has suspicion that particular person have taken ethanol, nitrazepam or clonazepam like drugs. Use of evacuated blood collection tube or tube containing gel separators or soft rubber stoppers are not recommended. Pre-analytical phase, collection and choice of the samples. Further, urine, stomach contents, urine volume about 25 to 50 ml. Demerits, delay in collection of sample when patients unconscious. Stomach contents, generally it not available in case of living patients. Because generally patients when reach to the hospital, suppose somebody have admitted in the local hospital, nearby hospital, and they have performed the gastric lavage. They generally they don't bring this gastric lavage along with patients. They will throw it somewhere and उसके कारण जो है मरीज जो भी आता है उसका gastric lavage जो है अवेलेबल होने की संभावना बहुत कम रहती है. Further, quantitative analysis is not very effective, not very much useful. Another that is saliva. Saliva is an alternative non-invasive test sample which can be used for in clinical toxicology. It is more suitable in case of drug of abuse, especially in case of like cannabis, heroin, opium, these things. Here, chronic poisoning due to heavy metals and drug abuse. Specimens must obtain in clean containers should be sent immediately to the toxicology lab with a precise note of analysis needed. Short outline of major clinical features of patients. Samples need to be stored before analysis at 0 to 4 degree centigrade temperatures. How to transport? Specimens sent for analysis must be clear, labeled, and patient's full name, the date and time of collection, and nature of the specimen if this is not relevant evident, self-evident. The date and time of receipt of all specimens by the laboratory should be recorded and a unique identifying number assigned to each specimen. It will help to make a chain of custody, to maintain the chain of custody. So containers of volatile material such as specimens to avoid the possibility of cross-contamination. All biological specimens should be stored at 4 degrees centigrade prior to analysis, if possible, and ideally, any specimen remaining after the analysis should be kept 4 degrees centigrade for 3 to 4 weeks if required, in case further analysis are required. In view of medical legal implications of some poison cases, for example, if it is not clear how the poison was administered or if the patient died, then any specimen remaining should be kept preferably at -20 degree temperature until investigation of the incident has been concluded. Particularly this इस part से कोई भी hospital बचना चाहता है, because nobody have this facilities to keep these things and engage their any treating physicians or laboratory persons who can have a particular these things to present in court of law and help to the administration of justice. So clinical toxicology versus what are the basic difference you can see here? When about the specimen and exhibits. In clinical toxicology, gastric lavage, whole blood, plasma, serum, saliva available है. But in case of toxicology, postmortem toxicology or forensic toxicology, tissue from preserved visceral organs, hemolyzed blood, and urine in limited cases may be available. In case of clinical toxicology, history and clinical features available, but in postmortem, only the postmortem findings is available, that is congestion of the viscera and some smells. Preservatives and time of analysis, scientific grade chemicals at an early, but in case of Postmortem, the visceral samples, that is saturated solution of the common salt, which commonly delayed months to years to reach to the hospitals. Challenges: chances of contamination and degradation of the poison is less, but in case of autopsy, chances of contamination and degradation of the poison is more. Selection of the more appropriate method of analysis. Here, since history and clinical features are available, you can select a suitable method. But in case of postmortem toxicology or forensic toxicology, difficult since the history and clinical features are not available. Only postmortem findings may help too. Further, so steps undertaking an analytical toxicology investigation, that is basic steps in analytical phase: sample preparation, toxicological screening, qualitative analysis, and quantitative analysis. Sample preparation is again require extraction and isolation of the constituents. There are various classical methods which can be used. Selection of suitable methods depends on the various controlling factors like nature of the poison, matrices क्या है, urine है, blood है, या saliva है, या what other matrices are there. According to you have to select any isolation method for extraction. Then volatiles, if volatile, then you have to go for distillation, steam or fractional distillation. Steam, acidic, then you have again ethanol, phenol, or this one acetone. If basic nature is basic drugs like amphetamine, nicotine. So these are the things where you have to take precautions and you have to make a proper efforts to select the proper appropriate procedure for extraction. Then non-volatile compounds, especially like go for dry icing and wet digestion, especially in case of heavy metals. Liquid extraction, maybe in case of you are examining a blood or urine or saliva for different type of drugs, maybe pesticides or some opioids and other things. Started liquid extraction may be required in case of viscera. Common testing procedures here. So generally for screening purpose in clinical toxicology is very much useful, and because patients have very less time and we will not get much time to analyze these samples. So if preferably we try to give the report within 3 hours before that. So for that, you have to go for some test which is less time taking, and at least we can give a particular group or nature of the particular group. So that is color test, which is region based and different regions are available. You can apply for that one. Then nowadays immunoassay kits are available where you can put the kit, apply in the urine or blood, and you may get some particular selective drugs. Not most of the poisons are available, but some selective drugs, immunoassay techniques methods are available where you can analyze. Most broadly used techniques like thin layer chromatography, that is relatively very you can say less expensive and simple to perform, can be a powerful qualitative and semi-quantitative techniques which is available. Another techniques like high performance chromatography, the cost of particular this equipment is about 95 lakh to 1 crore, and that is really at least reduce the time for analysis. High performance liquid chromatography is a time taking process where you can really need a confirmations of the particular poisons, and simultaneously you need a quantity estimation. Then you can go for HPLC. Gas chromatography, same thing. Ultraviolet spectroscopy have very limited role in case of clinical toxicology, but it have definitely roles in when you are go for other clinical toxicology, especially research area of the clinical toxicology. Similarly, mass spectrometer is also very limited role in case of clinical toxicology, but it had very good role when you are for applying for uh, forensic toxicology or any research area. Post-analysis, what are the important role of a toxicologist? Generally, we are missing in at the scenario when our samples are when person are working like as a chemical examiner, means chemistry only purely chemistry background. This part is missing. They are not trained how to interpret the findings of the particular given by the labs or analytical toxicology. So interpretation of the results and discuss them with the clinicians looking after the patients. Patients, doctors, physicians need, okay, if malathion is present, really this particular malathion, what type of particular poisons, how it work. The physicians may ask you, okay, can you suggest me what are the treatment, particular mode of treatment, what if specific antidotes is available. Specific antidotes, until unless you have not read, you have not gone through particular the book of toxicology, it is really not possible to suggest. So these are the questions generally asked by the physicians when you are providing the services. Perform additional analysis if indicated on the original samples or further samples from the patients. Documentation and communication of the toxicology laboratory results. So further analysis may require, suppose patients have admitted today and you have given, okay, particular person have serum cholesterol level this and presence of the malathion concentration are particular this. Patient's prognosis, to check the prognosis of the patient, uh, physicians may ask, can you analyze the samples again and what is tell me the particular enzymes levels and correspondingly what are the level of the malathion or particular substance what you have identified in particular sample. Then you have to further again 1 or 2 days or 3 days you have to again analyze the samples of the same patients and you may tell, yeah, nowadays the cholesterol level is increasing, but the concentration of the malathion, what was the responsible for this one, is reducing. Then that physician, okay. Now that means my treatment procedures or treatment methodologies, what we have followed, is appropriate and we can save the patient. So these are the things. Post-analytical phase is very important for any toxicologist. He has to help the particular treating physicians. Okay. Then it's there a role and nature of the OP compounds. Just I have discussed with you. Poisoning by OP compound, that is parathion, pyroxan methyl dimethyl, generally considered to be rather resistant to paralytic gym therapy. Problem is that the antidotes what you have developed particular against a particular compounds, but although the sign and symptom produced by this another compound, but that may be not work at particular again another pesticides. So here, suppose if you take example the parathion is very good effective for the palm against the palm against the parathion, palm is effective, but same times if your person have taken dimethiot or dimezanon may not respond POM exactly. So it need to be another enzymes, that is abidoxymes or paladoxymes, another one. So to decide what type of antidotes, that is also helpful a toxicological analysis. And just I have told you about the quantitative analysis when we need quantitative analysis. So positive result does not itself confirm prognosis poisoning, since such a result may arise from incidental or occupational exposure to a poison in question or the use of drug or treatment. Suppose if you have examined a patient and you have found that particular person have suspected like malathion poisoning or parathion, any pesticide. So that pesticide, presence of the pesticide is really sufficient to cause the particular hazards in the body or something else. Because any person who may have exposed particular the presence of the particular pesticide, not because of the ingestion, because of the ingestion or of the contaminated water or contaminated food materials. हम लोग सब जानते हैं सब्जी जो खाते हैं या जो पानी पीते हैं उसमें पेस्टिसाइड हो सकता है। तो ये पेस्टिसाइड का अगर कंसंट्रेशन हमको नहीं पता है, अगर हम तब तक हम भी नहीं कह सकते हैं कि पर्टिकुलर ये पॉइजन ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल है उसके लिए काज और डेथ के लिए या काज ऑफ सफरिंग के लिए जो है। So sometimes generally they ask some until unless very clear indication is there. So quantity estimation is very important when you are helping either working as a to the judiciary or to the physician or a patient. Interpretation of emergency toxicological analysis, you can see here. Protective therapy, suppose concentration of the paracetamol 200 milligram per liter at a 4 hours after ingestion or 30 milligram per liter at 15 hours of ingestion. So you can see here 200 milligram per liter at 4 hours after ingestion or 30 milligram per hour after 15 hour ingestion. So when we need to treat the particular patients, पैरासीटामोल ओवरडोज से पेशेंट अगर हमको उसको ट्रीटमेंट करने की जरूरत है कि नहीं जाए, उसको एंटीट्यूड देने की जरूरत है कि नहीं है। तो अगर हम पेशेंट हमारा 15 घंटे के बाद हमारे पास आया और 30 मिलीग्राम पर लीटर उसके साथ जो है, दैट मीन्स अभी हम इस स्टेज में आ गए हैं कि हो सकता है जरूरत नहीं है हमको। लेकिन 200 मिलीग्राम की स्टेज में अगर पेशेंट आता है आपके पास तो आपको उसको पैरासीटामोल का ओवरडोज का ट्रीटमेंट आपको करने में आसानी रहती। इसी तरह से थैलियम है, चिलेशन थेरेपी की कब जरूरत है आपको, जब आयरन का लेवल उसका 5 मिलीग्राम पर लीटर सीरम से ऊपर चला जाएगा या इस लेवल तक आ जाएगा, देन यू हैव टू चिलेशन थेरेपी इज मस्ट। सिमिलरली लेड के लिए 1 मिलीग्राम पर लीटर आपका जो है उसका होल ब्लड जो है अगर आपको लेवल पहुंच गया है। तो दीज आर द पैरामीटर्स जनरली who recommends for a quantitative analysis of the particular blood or serum. You can see the level of blood lead concentration in children and ये कैसे पता चलेगा कि उसका जो है ब्लड में कितना लेड है, ये आप जब तक क्वांटिटी एस्टिमेशन नहीं करेंगे इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल टू फाइंड आउट एग्जैक्टली व्हाट ट्रीटमेंट इज नीड टू डू। So needs of quantitative analysis, it is important to discuss the scope and limitations of the test performed with the clinician concerned and to maintain high standards of laboratory practice, especially when performing tests on an emergency basis. तो आपको कितना टाइम लगेगा, कितना उसके प्रॉस एंड कॉन्स क्या हैं, लिमिटेशंस क्या हैं, आपको ये सब चीज़ें आपको जो भी क्लिनिशियंस हैं आप उसके साथ पूरा कंप्लीटली आपको शेयर करने पड़ेंगे, उनको बताने पड़ेंगे कि हाँ भाई हमको इस टेस्ट को करने में 4 घंटे लगेंगे, इस टेस्ट को करने में हमको 10 घंटे लगेंगे और इसमें क्या फॉल्स चीज़ है, क्या लिमिटेशंस है हमारे इंस्ट्रूमेंट के, उसमें से कितने कितने परसेंटेज तक हम लोग रिजल्ट को फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं, किस लेवल तक मेजरमेंट कर सकते हैं, ये सब चीज़ें आपको क्लिनिशियन या जो भी पर्सन है कंसर्निंग पर्सन उससे हमको डिस्कस करके बताना पड़ेगा। When is the measurement of blood or serum concentration useful? In overdose cases, monitor treatment or course patients diagnose clinically unapparent or delay toxicity, define indication for unique interventions. Serum theophylline measurements can aid decision to start or continue charcoal hemoperfusion, serum digoxins, blood. So these are the some cases where at least quantitative serum concentration may be useful in the treatment of the particular patients. You can see here laboratory clinical presentation like this, concentration criteria this, and therapy and prevention hepatotoxicity. So these are the things when you provide the quantitative estimation, patients may be get at least some relief, proper treatment. Approximate detection time of some common drugs of abuse in urine, you can see in case of duration of the detection urine, how long you can detect. अब कोई आपके पास अल्कोहल का केस 4 दिन के बाद आता है और आपसे बोला जाता है कि प्लीज आप अल्कोहल कितना है इसमें डिटेक्ट करके मुझे बताइए. Then you have to say no. At the literature available, we can detect alcohol up to 24 hours only. After that, it's not possible to detect from the urine. Similarly, barbiturates 1 to 3 days, cannabis up to 14 days. We can, that means cannabis is get absorbed to the system, to the body. That's why अभी हम cannabis को हेयर सैंपल से भी एनालाइज कर सकते हैं. हेयर में भी इसका डिपोजिशन होता है लाइक हैवी मेटल्स. सो ये up to 14 days we can detect from the urine also, like other samples like blood, lead we can detect. So these are the things which can be durations, how long we can detect according to literatures available at this time. What are the pitfalls of record toxicology? We can see magic wand syndrome. Generally, people think that okay, toxicology laboratory means लाखों जो पॉइजन्स हैं इन्वायरमेंट में, हम सबको डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं. So it is totally impossible for a toxicology laboratory to offer a full spectrum of toxicology testing in real time. So it's not possible. जादू नहीं है. Essential precautions need to be taken at the time of sampling, preservation, and transportation. So correct sample containers, preservatives, and cooling. Decide exactly what you require by the way of analysis. These are the things you have to know. It is important to know which specimens are appropriate for the tests requested. अब आप अगर जैसे मैंने बोला कि अभी आपको करना है ब्लड अल्कोहल का कंसंट्रेशन देखना है कि BAC क्या है और आप उसको यूरिन में देख रहे हैं, तो इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. You have to collect, we have to get the blood samples, then you can say, yeah, BAC is this. EDTA and citrate bind divalent cations that may serve as a cofactors for enzymes, used as reagents or labels in various assays. Additionally, liquid EDTA and citrate anticoagulants dilute the specimen, which may be required. Okay, so be aware, findings a large quantity of toxins in the stomach does not mean it is the cause of death. The toxins may not have entered the bloodstream yet. Blood concentration is most important. So, presence of the poisons in the stomach is really not very much useful. When you are examining a gastric contents, you may get more concentration. But the thing is how much concentration was circulated in the body and which is responsible for the particular suffering of the particular patients. In brief, we can see here generally clinical versus forensic toxicology laboratory. Generally, what questions these particular people expect or expect that it's natural question to ask when getting laboratory tests done on biological specimen is when will I know the results. सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन यही होता है किसी का भी, भाई हम सैंपल ले रहे हैं, आप ब्लड हमको जांच की रिपोर्ट कब देंगे आप. For many routine medical tests performed in clinical laboratory, the results are usually available in a matter of hours or days. This can be happen all by mostly the biochemical parameters or pathological reports. But in case of toxicology, forensic laboratory tests by contrast often take a much longer time to complete. सबको मालूम है सैंपल विसरा ऑटोप्सी के बाद जो है ऑटोप्सी सेंटर में ही कई दिन रह जाता है. उसके बाद पुलिस लेके जाती है, पुलिस लेके से जाएगी, फिर वहां पे FSL में भी पेंडिंग केसेस बहुत हैं. अब उसके बाद फिर टाइम आएगा, तो इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू से कि आपको रिपोर्ट कितने दिन में मिल जाएगी. वाई आर दे बेसिकली द सेम? The short answer is no, they are not the same. Both clinical and forensic toxicology laboratory are dedicated to producing accurate and timely laboratory analysis. दोनों का बेसिक पर्पज है कि आपको एग्जैक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन दें, बट नेचर ऑफ वर्क और नेचर ऑफ सैंपल आर डिफरेंट. सो The customer and final products are very different. Generally, clinical labs are meant for to perform rapid analysis of physiological tests for doctors to use to monitor patients' status and make treatment decisions. While forensic laboratories are meant to produce complete one-time one analysis that will be used as a part of medico-legal proceedings. तो यहाँ पे कोई भी गलती नहीं चलेगी इसलिए कि सैंपल आपको दोबारा मिलने वाला नहीं है. As a result of clinical labs and forensic lab collect the process sample differently and are staffed differently and funded differently and use different technologies. So यहाँ पे पूरी गवर्नमेंट की व्यवस्था है फोरेंसिक साइंस लेबोरेटरी में या फोरेंसिक लेबोरेटरी टॉक्सिकोलॉजी में, but where clinical toxicology, private agencies are also, they have very good equipments, they have very good infrastructure, they have good manpower. So difference are there. When you compare these things, so clinical toxicology, I think, yeah, we have already discussed this one. Clinical toxicology uses methods akin to those utilized in forensic toxicology. So basically, forensic toxicology, if you have anybody experience, clinical toxicology, same equipment, same infrastructures they can utilize for clinical toxicology lab. Furthermore, technological innovation in the field of the same pre-treatment and in the instrumental methodologies have improved levels of precision, accuracy, sensitivity, and efficiency of qualitative analysis in both disciplines. So generally, research which conducted in the area of toxicology and especially instrumentation, different type of methodology for analytical, they take help from the chemistry and analytical chemistry, we can say, and pharmacologist and forensic scientist. Thanks. Thanks for listening. If any questions, please ask me. I may try to reply.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very extensive session on forensic toxicology, general toxicology. Thank you so much. So, audience, now session is open for question answer. This is the last session of the day and whole faculty development program. So, not any question from any
Nice.
research scholar.
So, Dr. Amarnath,
जी
ये जो हमने इतने देर से बोला कुछ किसी को समझ में आया या इसलिए नहीं है या इतना ज्यादा समझ में आ गया कि क्वेश्चन है ही नहीं लोगों के पास?
एक मैसेज आ गया सर फ्रॉम जमैका, वेरी गुड
Yeah.
प्रेजेंटेशन.
But they don't
समझ
have
में
any
आया होगा
questions.
सर. जी सर.
वही करें, कोई क्वेश्चंस नहीं है ना?
हाँ ये लोग
They don't have any
पूछ
query
लिए.
or they don't have any. Okay.
Good presentation.
Yeah, so I would like to wish all of you for a coming new year, that is 2024, and my best wishes to all of you, and hopes we'll meet somewhere in 2024 physically.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Yeah, so now I can leave or something else?
As you wish, sir. I'm going to conclude all 7 days this program.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I will try to continue live with you.
$449. Shrutika, you are active here? Saurabh?
Sir.
Yeah. So
Yes.
now I'm going to start validatory function where after summary and vote of thanks, there will be online assessment and feedback. Okay, everyone. So 10 minutes break. We will meet after 10 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Good evening to all of you. ललित जी,
यस सर।
सबको एक्सेस दे दीजिए कैमरा ऑन करने का, क्योंकि
Yes,
अभी
sir.
असेसमेंट होगा. So, good evening, all of you. Now we are going to conclude 7 days faculty development program. I am directly going to conclude in the words, not I will take much time. So, there were more than 30, around 32 eminent resource persons from India, from UK, from Jamaica, from Cameroon, from UAE, from US, took the session, plenary session, and we have completed, when we are taking this online assessment time, so we have completed around 36 hour, or you can say the more than 36 hour, because every day we finish online assessment and feedback from early. So now I want to thanks to all eminent resource person, and as per the FDP objective, we have fulfilled the outcome, learning outcome of the faculty development program. This is for this is conducted for research scholars, but mainly for the faculties who are teaching to those research scholars as well as UG PG students. Okay, so this is as per the refreshment program, you can say. Only we, but problem was here that not proper interactive session by all of us. Many are BG, many are only just uh, join the meeting and just leave for that. So such type events, some such type faculty development program required interaction, because you also know very well you are attending this faculty development program not for certificate only, but also you need to discuss, say your opinion, tell about your knowledge, discuss. So there is a gathering of the knowledge. But yes, very well finished these 7 days faculty development program. And now I want to thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Chairperson of the Faculty Development Program. Our best wishes always with us. Honorable Dean Ma'am, and also Amity Academic Staff College as well as Amity Institute of Forensic Sciences. Research scholars Shrutika, Shingla, Arjun, and Saurabh, and also for preparing this question paper, this assessment form by Rosis. She is also going to submit her PhD thesis very soon. So I wish to thanks all of you. Thank you IT team, Maksud ji, Mobin ji, and today Lalit ji for proper conduction of the events, all sessions, not any major difficulties. Thank you everyone. Now I'm going to share two Google form. You need to fill both. Okay. Thank you, all of you. So I hope both Google form is visible to all of you. Yes, Gaurav.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So please on your camera and fill the form.
Everyone kindly turn on their cameras.
Can I leave now?
Yes, sir.
Can I leave now?
Sir, you have filled the
I've
forms?
submitted.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
both the forms. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir, no issues.
So
After
when
filling
we will
both
get the
the forms, you
certificates and
can
all?
leave.
When we will get the certificates
Sir,
and
it
all?
will take around 2 weeks.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Is anyone from the organizing team here?
Yes, ma'am.
So I've received the answer after I've submitted the answers. There is an error in the way the correct answers have been calculated. There are marks for my name, for my designation, for my university, and they're all marked wrong.
No issues, ma'am. Correct it.
Yeah, and even the last few answers where we've marked on a scale of 5 what was the relevance of the FDP and stuff, they're also marked all wrong,
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
right?
ma'am. We'll check, ma'am.
Yeah. So I've got a score of 21. It should be like a 35 or something. So please make that correction.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll be closing the meeting in 5 minutes. So if you are left with attending quiz, kindly attempt the quiz. The link has been provided in the chat box, and kindly turn on your camera while you are attempting the quiz.
Hi, good evening. I just want to reiterate what my colleague just indicated. I found the same observations in terms of the questions that were marked wrong on the quiz in terms of the designations and assessment of the conference. They were also marked incorrect. So that would also affect the scoring.
Ma'am, we'll check the scoring according to that. We'll like ignore the wrong answer for the assessment and for the other details, and then we'll calculate the things.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone here from the organizing team?
Yes, sir.
I have filled the form.
Okay,
I just heard that there were two queries now. Same type. Actually, I saw that the actual question answer that you were assessing is of 30 points only. So I don't think there will be any need for you to rectify. Assessment questions are of 30 points. So the assessment can be done out of the marks obtained from those 30 points.
yes, sir. So we'll check it. As we have all the responses from all the participants, we'll rectify it if there are some issues.
Okay, thank you. Can I leave?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So participants, we are ending the meeting as time is up of the assessment. IT team, you can end the meeting.
Thank you.